Ah, good old Renault. A team of mixed success. There's been plenty of highs.
Here comes Alonso, the new world champion.
But sadly there's been plenty of lows.
It's a slow pit stop by down. Get crossed.
You gotta hand it to them though. They're a team of spirit. They always come back stronger than they did before. But if they thought this comeback was going to be easy, they should probably think again.
Fire when the strobe hits you.
That's it, Brian? Yes.
Bet you're looking for something new.
Max Verstappen wins a Formula One Grand Prix!
Staring up across the room. Bet I'm a trendsetter too.
Hello there guys and welcome, it is Niren here and today it is finally time for me to welcome you to the F1 2016 career mode. You guys of course choosing me to drive for Renault. We are here on the new F1 game and what a game it is in comparison to F1 2015. Of course fully customizable career mode. You can see that we've chosen our number as 43, our helmet, our avatar, and of course we are ourselves Niren Yesafu from Great Britain for this adventure.
Hi, I'm Emma Jenkins. I'm a specialist in contract law and I've been brought in to work as your agent. I'll be working to get you the best deal in the boardroom, which means you need to do the best possible job out there on the circuit.
So quick conversation there with our agent, but our journey is about to get underway here in practice one in Australia, and I hope you guys are going to go on to enjoy the video. If you do, then feel free to hit the likes button. If we could smash 100 likes on this video, that would be massively appreciated. But in the background, you can see we are into qualifying. I was sort of just getting used to the car, getting used to the game, getting used to the handling. You can see we're on the medium tyres as we are doing the track acclimatization R&D sort of practice objective, and coming across the line there for our first lap, we managed to smash the target score when it comes to a green lap, and now we need to set a lap time, well no, not set lap time, sorry, we need to get 470 points by driving through the gates at the correct speed, the correct sort of angle, and we do that, we better our best, and we get 495 as a best score, which of course means we get more R&D points, which means we can apply those R&D points to improving the car. The Renault is the third worst car on the grid, so we're definitely going to need these to rack up, and you can see there we get a session total of 538 R&D points. In the background, you can see that we're just about to have a conversation with our R&D management guy, and he's just going to tell us that we can obviously spend those resource points that we earn in practice on developing the car in the future, which makes practice obviously very important. Unfortunately, though, I was unable to do all three of the objectives in the practice session as I ran out of time, but I did do the track acclimatization, and we can obviously spend the excess 500 resource points or plus on downforce, so applying front wing turning vanes to the car, which will hopefully come into effect at the next race weekend in Bahrain, so you can expect the car to be slightly better. You can see the vehicle performance comparison there down the right hand side, just confirmation we're improving the downforce. But now, as we start improving the car for the next race weekend, after practice, it's time to look at the qualifying report. "2016 marked a new season, but no new team at the top in Formula 1. Q1 in Australia saw Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes fastest, ahead of the following pack. Both Renaults went out the first hurdle, with Isuzu 18th on his debut, whilst Rio Haryanto got the better of Pascal Wehrlein. Same result again in Q2, Lewis Hamilton was once again fastest from teammate Nico Rosberg, with both Toro Rosso sneaking into Q3 at the expense of both McLarens and both Force Indias, with Valtteri Bottas also underachieving in 11th. But in the shootout, it was a different Mercedes fastest, as Nico Rosberg took pole from Lewis Hamilton and both Ferraris. Performance of the day, however, went to Romain Grosjean, who took 7th on Haas's debut in Formula 1. So it'll be Nico Rosberg starting on pole in the first Grand Prix of the season from teammate Lewis Hamilton, then Vettel and Kimi Raikkonen. P5 was Verstappen from teammate Ricciardo, then Romain Grosjean and Felipe Massa. P9 was Sainz from teammate Kvyat, then Bottas and Alonso to round out the top 12. So then after a very difficult race weekend so far, where we failed really to meet sort of qualifying pace in practice, And I suppose that was a sign of things to come because our qualifying pace wasn't fantastic either. Only starting 18th on the grid. Our objective actually was to start 17th, so we only missed out by 1 place. We also had an objective to beat Kevin Magnussen, which we also agonisingly missed out on because Kevin Magnussen was only 1 place ahead of us in 17th. So if we'd have just taken 17th off him, we would have passed both of the objectives. But you can see now we're on the grid. You can see us there, a little cutscene of ourselves. We're number 43, one of my favourite numbers. You're going to see the strategy now on the screen. The suggested one for this first round of the F1 2016 career mode season was a 1-stop. To start on softs, then go on to the hardest and most durable tyre being the medium. However, last year on F1 2015, my tyre conservation was pretty poor, so we've gone for the 2-stop where we'll be starting on options or the super softs, and then moving on to 2 sets of softs for the end, and starting the formation lap, and it hasn't started very well for us. Our career has gone off to probably the worst possible start by going into anti-stall on the formation lap, so we quickly have to zip past Rio Haryanto and both the Saubers there that overtook us whilst we were stranded on the grid for a moment. Thankfully, the stall is not a permanent one. We do get underway eventually, sort of slightly bamboozled by the manual start when it comes to formation laps. I've got it down for races, but perhaps not the formation lap, maybe a little bit of practice required on that one. But just getting some temperature now into the tyres and into the brakes. In front of us, Kevin Magnussen is starting on the slower, softer compound, or the soft compound, sorry, not the softer compound, the yellow-walled soft compound, but just going to go around again, as I said, just getting some heat into the tyres, into the brakes. We're on Legend AI, just for those who are sort of wondering, and it seems pretty realistic at the moment, because Renault obviously making their comeback, as you saw in the intro, and if they thought it was going to be easy, they should probably think again, because they are currently sat on the third to last row of the grid, both of their cars, but now edging up to our positions, our grid slots on the grid. We've got Magnussen there to our left. We are starting 18th. Both the Saubers and the Manners just left to line up on the grid, and the lights are now starting to illuminate. Holding the clutch, the 5 lights are now on, and after a very, very long hold, they are now off, and we are underway for the 2016 Formula 1 season here on F1 2016, and it's a great start. We're already past Magnussen and now bearing down on Gutierrez, trying to go to the inside of the Haas and on the inside of Hulkenberg, who's got a very poor start there in the Force India, slight lock-up there on the right front, and Valtteri Bottas and Sainz having a slight collision that's allowed us even to get past the Williams driver, and now alongside Carlos Sainz down to turn 3, and Carlos Sainz swerving there in the braking zone. Very dangerous from the Spaniard, who should know better. This is his second year in Formula 1. He should know that he shouldn't be doing that, although Max Verstappen still does it, so I suppose that's some sort of a consolation for the Spaniard. Nevertheless, Sainz manages to regain 11th place after we briefly took it on the run down there to turn 3, but a very interesting start, and what a start it is, could I just say. From 18th on the grid, we find ourselves now up in 12th place. We've got Button behind us. He's on the soft tyres, so he's on the slower compound in comparison to us and Sainz in front. And we're also ahead of Valtteri Bottas, let's not forget that. Valtteri Bottas, who had a pretty poor qualifying session, going out in Q2 in 11th, and it's not got much better. He had a pretty poor start there, and he's now down to 14th place. He's dropped behind Sainz, he's dropped behind us, and he's dropped behind Jenson Button in the McLaren. Now, moving on to lap 3, DRS has been enabled, and Carlos Sainz isn't really driving up to the back of the soft tyre shod Fernando Alonso like I was really expecting him to. And the dirty air is sort of holding us up at the moment, keeping us behind. A slight mistake there through turn 2, which allowed Button to get close, but thankfully we were able to hold on to that. And moving on now further on to lap 3, and it might be worth us trying to get past Carlos Sainz here, because ahead of us, in 10th place, Alonso is on the yellow-walled soft tyres, but they're slower than the ones we and Sainz are on. So I don't know if Sainz is struggling for pace, but as you can see, we're bearing down him, going to the left-hand side, trying to get around the outside here into this right-hander. Can we make it around the outside? Yes, we can. It looks as if we can. Sainz has still got his front wing up the inside, but we do just about hold on to the position, giving him some space, but ultimately driving around the outside of the very talented Spaniard and up into 11th place. Plus seven positions gained on the first lap, or the first 3 laps. This is wonderful stuff. Our teammate, though, Kevin Magnussen, is about to get involved in some action. Is he? Yes, he is, because he had a crash there with Daniel Ricciardo, who was caught out by Felipe Nasr going slowly and going wide in the Sauber. Just outbroke himself, went wide, came back onto the track. Daniel Ricciardo swerves into Magnussen, and wow! Flipping heck, Marcus Ericsson doing an incredible job there to get out of the way of all of them. Otherwise, that could have been a massive crash onto lap 8. And we're up into P4 because some of the front runners who started on the super soft tyres are now pitting, trading in their dead rubber for some slightly fresher boots. But as you can see, Jenson Button is bearing down as our tyres are starting to go off and even the soft tyre shod Jenson Button is crawling all over the back of us. We've outbroken ourselves there into turn 3, and it's allowed the very experienced Brit Jenson Button to get the switch back on us there and take P4. Obviously not a net P4 because a lot of people have pitted in front of us. We've got Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez behind us, and taking that as somewhat of a warning to come into the pit lane before we get a puncture, realistically, because the tyres are going off. We're coming to the pit lane on the end of lap 8, and of course the people around us, we just about slow down. Jesus Christ. Obviously we have to manually enter the pit lane these days, and we just about slowed the car down enough. Will we see if it's a good pit stop from the guys putting on these soft tyres? It's a very good one actually, 2.3. Very good stuff from the Renault pit crew. But yeah, all the other guys around us were on harder compound tyres, so they of course will stay out. They will stay on the track a little bit longer. But we've got some yellow flags here down into turn 1, which is obviously not ideal. We've got a Sauber on the apex of the corner, and Romain Grosjean facing the wrong way. We've had to take to the grass to avoid them. Carlos Sainz has gone through the middle of both of them, through the apex of the corner, and we managed to get the overcut on him, but now he's flipping gone back through again. And I've not got a clue why. There was a Sauber and a Haas just parked on the apex, and here you can see we're on board with NASA, and there was actually a Ferrari spun round, and him and Ericsson behind parked on the apex of turn 1 and didn't get going until another gaggle of cars, including Grosjean, came along, and Grosjean slams into Ericsson, ripping off his front left. You can see us going to the outside and Sainz going to the inside there as Marcus Ericsson's car disappeared. We were quite unlucky actually because we were obviously coming out the pit lane, so a tighter angle into turn 1 than Carlos Sainz, who managed to get through. But some more action going on here. Nico Rosberg going defensive from someone, but outbraking himself, coming back onto the track, and a massive accident there with Nico Hülkenberg. And it looks as if some real damage here for Nico Hülkenberg. You can see Rosberg just outbraking himself, coming back onto the track. And that is the end of the race for Nico Hülkenberg, who is unlucky once again in the Force India. The poor guy taken out by a mistake by Rosberg. And you can see Rosberg there still to the side of the track when myself and Sainz go through. So the Mercedes driver who started on pole, it's all unravelling for the German. He's down in 17th place. He has pitted, so that's a net 17th place. So that's very, very poor for Nico Rosberg, making the mistake after coming under threat there from a Williams. He then outbroke himself and came back onto the track, hit Nico Hülkenberg. Hülkenberg is out. On to lap 10 though, we are making a move on Carlos Sainz, who must be suffering from some sort of car issues, the poor kid, because he's on super soft tyres, and we've just breezed past him in a place you wouldn't expect someone to breeze past someone. He's already dropped back by a mile, so I think Carlos Sainz is suffering with mechanical issues. On to lap 11, and we've managed to maintain our place out of Valtteri Bottas, which I wasn't really expecting after the off that we had coming out of the pit lane. So Valtteri Bottas clearly having an interesting adventure somewhere as well, because he came out behind us. But on to lap 12, he caught us up, and to be honest, we let him through because we're just having our own race. We don't need to battle the kid, because at the end of the day, he's faster than us. Unless something goes wrong for him, we're not going to see him ever again for the rest of the race, and he can drag us up to other cars like he has done here. Felipe Nasr, who's yet to pit, he obviously started on the yellow-walled soft tyres, so he hasn't pitted yet, and we just sneak up the inside of him there through that right-hand corner, even though realistically he's probably going to pit at the end of this lap here. Lap 13, you can see a Manor there who also started on the soft tyres, peeling into the pit lane, and Nasr as well doing the same. Just behind us, onto lap 14, and a resurgent Nico Rosberg is starting to chase us down in the Mercedes. Got front wing damage though after the accident with Nico Hülkenberg, which is why it took him quite some time realistically to catch us up. A solid 4 or 5 laps to catch us up and then pass us. Again, not too much defensive work going on there because he's not in our race either. Hopefully he can sort of drag us along to people in front. Now it's time though for our second and final pit stop of the day. On to lap 18 to put another set of the soft tyres on, the yellow wall tyres, to get us to the end. There will be some guys going for one stopper, so we've got to try and catch those guys because they will have track position over us. Nico Rosberg there in the pit lane, you can see just the extent really of his front wing damage because he hasn't really galloped off into the distance too much. He's still only about 2 or 3 seconds ahead of us, so his front wing damage clearly hindering him very much because he didn't really gain all that much time on us in the 3 laps that it took him to pass us, and then also of course coming into the pit lane. But moving on to lap 21, and we've caught the first of the guys on the one stopper. It's Pascal Wehrlein in the Manor, but worryingly it's taken quite some time. It's taken a full 3 laps now to catch this Manor, and Esteban Gutierrez is a full 9 seconds up the road from the German. So we've got a lot of work to do to pass Wehrlein, as we're doing now, the inside through that right-hander, and also then catch and pass Esteban Gutierrez. On to lap 22, And we've got a Red Bull in the pit lane, Daniel Ricciardo, who's making an extra pit stop. That's a third pit stop of the day for him. So that's a free position gained up into 13th place. It's still a net gain on where we started, so that's obviously still a bonus. Getting very overcast though here in Australia. And we're now on board with Kevin Magnussen, who's had a pretty dog day afternoon, and something's gone wrong on the car again. You can see the front left is lifted up slightly. He's had a bump from behind there. That was a Red Bull who I think broke his front wing there. I think that was Max Verstappen. And yeah, definitely a puncture then for our teammate Kevin Magnussen, who's had a shocker of an afternoon already, having an accident with Daniel Ricciardo, and now he's got a right rear puncture. And on to lap 25, you can see he's actually holding someone up. Who is it? We're going to come around the corner. It's Esteban Gutierrez. So our teammate has done us a wonderful favour by just holding everyone up, basically, with the puncture, and he's held up Esteban Gutierrez, and we've now gained another position. So we're now up to 12th place. That's 6 places gained from the start of the race. So thank you very much, Kevin Magnussen, our teammate there, sacrificing himself for the greater good. Realistically, we cut that corner absolutely atrociously and somehow don't get a warning. We've got another slow car though coming up, and it's Valtteri Bottas. We were convinced we weren't going to see him for the rest of the race. He's clearly broken his front wing on the back end of Kevin Magnussen, and he's going slowly now. And suddenly, we're only 1 place off the point. We're in 11th place, and after all this carnage, at the end of the race, we've got another car coming into the pit lane. That's Max Verstappen to fix his front wing. He obviously hit Kevin Magnussen as well. So Magnussen has single-handedly wiped 3 people out of our sort of radar, and he's now been disqualified. So his job here is done. He's piecing the scene. He's been disqualified. We're also down to 18, so we've also lost someone else from this race, and it's Kimi Raikkonen, the Ferrari driver, who was ahead of us. That's going to promote us again up into 9th place. Here's what happened. Through the left and right, it's Magnussen again, and Raikkonen piles into the back of him, and that is the end of both of their races, realistically. And now, on to lap 26, we go past the scene of the accident and we are promoted into 9th place. We have got a chance here of points, but look at who's in 10th. Daniel Ricciardo on super softs, and he's catching very quickly. 2.8 seconds is the gap, and guess who he's brought along with him? He's brought his mate Max Verstappen. They both pitted because they both lost their front wing, and they're both on the fastest possible compound at the end of this race. And with 2 laps to go, the Bulls have caught us, both of them. Ricciardo and Verstappen are both all over the back of us. And if we can't keep hold of either of these guys, if we can't keep both of them behind, we're going to potentially finish outside of the points after it looked so promising. And Ricciardo is already trying to get the move done down into the quick left-right chicane, but he's gone wide, he's gone too deep onto the grass. Max Verstappen's gone through, and he's now all over the back of our Renault rear end, and we've got to somehow hold on in a slower car, on the slower compound, and on older tyres. These guys only pitted about 4 or 5 laps ago. They're on ridiculously fresh super softs. I mean, they might be slightly old, but they're certainly faster than our tyres. I mean, Felipe Nasr is out. That's realistically the least of our concerns at this point, as we head towards the final lap of the race, and we've got 2 Red Bulls behind us. We're in 9th place. Again, to reiterate, if we lose both of these positions, we're finishing outside the point. Ricciardo's got to be inside of Verstappen, he's got to be inside of us as well, trying for the 2 for 1, but we hold it around the outside, and we hold on to 9th place. That's 1 overtaking position or place gone around the track, and we should be ahead through the second DRS zone and down into turn 3. So there's only realistically 1 more place on the track that these 2 Red Bulls can overtake us, unless they're going to drag us to the line. But we've got to save some fuel on this final lap, because we were burning it in the first stint and the second stint to try and remain competitive in this race. And we also started burning it when we found out that 2 Red Bulls were coming for us, which was probably a wise idea realistically. Sebastian Vettel has won. Brilliant, great news for him. However, we have got to hold on. Ricciardo's trying to go right around the outside through the chicane, but he's lost out, and Verstappen's gone back through again. The 2 Red Bulls are swapping positions more often than you can, more often than you can say swap. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. To be honest, I'm overcome with the occasion at this point, because as Felipe Nasr in the Sauber has broken down and is to the side of the track, we've extended a pretty decent gap. Felipe Massa is now up in 8th, so he's been passed by Nico Rosberg on this final lap of the race. But into the final few corners now, the tyres are starting to go off. We're in lean mix because otherwise we're going to run out of fuel. And Daniel Ricciardo and Verstappen are right there. They're going to try and drag us to the line. They're both going to have DRS. And we're in lean fuel mixture, coming towards the line. Daniel Ricciardo slipstreams as he goes to the right. Verstappen goes to the left. We lose out to the Australian in its own Grand Prix. He takes 9th, but we do hold on in front of Max Verstappen. We hold on in front of one of the Red Bulls at least. That is decent, that's damage limitation under the circumstances. And on our debut, Sebastian Vettel wins in the Ferrari after a pretty dog day afternoon for both of the Mercedes. Lewis Hamilton, I think, finished 3rd, and Nico Rosberg obviously had multiple issues throughout the race. We, though, are getting out of our car in Parc Ferme. We don't really seem too impressed, probably because we got dragged to the line by Daniel Ricciardo, but we do take a point on our debut in Formula 1 by less than 1/10 of a second in front of the Red Bull of Max Verstappen. Shout out to Pascal Wehrlein in the manor, he came 12th. Great race for him, but it was Sebastian Vettel who won. Lewis Hamilton was actually 2nd, and Jenson Button was on the podium in 3rd with Alonso 4th. What a day out for McLaren. Sergio Perez in 5th, Daniel Kvyat in 6th. Great race for him. Rosberg 7th, then Massa, Daniel Ricciardo, and ourselves. Rounding out the points, you can see all the DNFs, a penalty as well there for Bottas. All the DNFs there being Nasser, Raikkonen, Hülkenberg, Ericsson, and Magnussen. But here you can see the driver's standings, obviously the same as the race result that we've just had. But I mean, yes, we've got a point, and that is absolutely astonishing. But wow, McLaren with a 3rd and 4th, and that makes them top in the constructors' standings, because obviously Kimi Raikkonen didn't finish, so Ferrari, yes, got 25 points for Vettel, but nothing else, and Mercedes only got a 2nd place for Hamilton, and then Rosberg obviously had multiple issues throughout the race as well. We are 8th in the championship in terms of the constructors, so 8 constructors scoring points in the first race of the season. What a season opener, and we have got ourselves on the scoreboard already. A singular point, yes, but we've all got to start somewhere. What a race, what a finale to that race. I hope this video was worth the wait for you guys. I managed to hype it up quite a lot. I hope you guys like the intro as well. If you want, feel free to hit the likes button. That would massively help me out. That will help my channel out massively. If you could share maybe on Twitter, share with your mates. If you enjoyed the video that much, that would again really help me out, help branch out with people as well, whatever the circumstance. Subscribe though if you are new around here, new to the channel, and comment about enjoying the video if you enjoyed it that much. But already, we are on the scoreboard. We've got a point here on our debut in Formula 1. You can see in terms of our rivalry, we are now leading the rivalry with our teammate Kevin Magnussen after starting the weekend very badly in that regard, obviously losing out to him in qualifying. But that is about it from me. I hope you enjoyed this first episode of F1 2016 Career Mode. More to come very soon. Have a great day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.